Jasminder, and today we're going to be doing a nature scavenger hunt, and we're going to be exploring what's in our backyard. So you might live in an apartment or unit with a really teeny backyard, or a balcony that's your backyard. You might live in a house in the suburbs with a big backyard with lots of grass, or you might live out on a farm with plenty of land, and you might come across all sorts of things. So it doesn't really matter about the size of your backyard today, because we're going to be looking at our backyards, but we can also go on walking tracks, you can go on hikes, and go to public gardens. There's lots and lots of opportunities to go exploring. So let's get started. We have a scavenger hunt that we're going to do today. You can download that from the link below, and there's also a handy app that you can use to help identify all the things we're going to find, also available below. So we've just found our first thing on the scavenger hunt list, which is this lovely rose geranium. So one of the things under plants was a leaf with 3 or more points. So you can see here that these leaves have definitely got more than 3 points. And this is actually also an edible plant, which is pretty cool. It can be used to make like jellies, and it smells absolutely delicious. But yeah, we've completed our first thing off our scavenger list. Ants are pretty easy to find. You should be able to find them anywhere in your backyard, or sometimes inside as well. We're going to pick up this brick because usually you can find stuff underneath bricks or rocks. And let's have a look. Oh, so you can see here there's lots and lots of ants. They're sort of swarming. And there's also, oh, can you see there's white sacs? Those are basically like the larvae or the young. So this is an ant nest. So sometimes you can find all sorts of interesting bugs under rocks and under bricks and all sorts of things like that. So let's have a look what's under this one. Oh! There's lots and lots of things under this one. So you can see that we have a worm just here. You can see there's lots and lots of ants. And there's also a couple of other things under there. There's a slug, there's a snail just here, and there's also some other bugs under there. So we're going to put this back and leave them undisturbed so they don't get all upset. So one of the things we've asked you to find is some fruits or vegetables that are in your backyard, or perhaps on the walk that you might go on. Lucky enough, in winter, citruses tend to grow really well. So over here behind me, there's this plant, and it has 10 jellos growing on it. And over here, we've got lots and lots of lemons, which is fantastic. And we even have some oranges growing in our backyard. So all of those tasty treats. So one of the other things we had to find was a spider web. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to find a spider web, but we found one today, and this one's pretty cool. Can you guys see that spider web that we found in between the trees? It's a pretty good one. This one's huge. So this spider's managed to use a big space between 2 branches, 2 cut off branches, and it's made a really beautiful spider web that is managing to catch a lot of bugs, which is great for the spider. One of the best bits about nature is if you're really quiet and still, you can usually hear. There's a bird. Haven't been able to find out what it is yet, but we can always use that app. So I've been trying to find some birds, no luck so far, but I have found something else. I found where the birds are living at the moment. I'm not sure which bird lives up here, and normally we wouldn't be able to see it, but because it's winter and this tree has lost all of its leaves, we're actually able to see the nest that these birds live in. Check it out. Can you see that nest at the very top of that tree? Let's zoom in a little bit. There it is. And it looks like this bird's used a lot of different materials to make their nest, including some sort of plastic or ribbon. Pretty nifty. So I've just found some sort of moss or lichen on this tree. I'll flip the camera around and you can have a look at it. So we've found some lichen here on this apple tree, and lichen's actually a plant formed with the symbiotic association of certain fungi and green algae. So they need to live together in order to survive. So they can exist in like aquatic environments and they can exist on trees as well. And this is an example of a fungi that is lichen. So far I haven't had any luck finding any native mammals. I have, however, found our pet dog, but that doesn't really count. So like I said, no luck finding a native mammal, but here's a dog. That still counts. Hey Foxy. Good girl. So I've just started the walk part of the nature scavenger hunt. It's pretty cool. So far we've seen a bee and I've seen 3 mammals. One of them was a person. So during the walk today we came across something pretty cool. I'm not sure if you can see all those bugs flying in and out, but there's like a little hollow and it's a beehive in a tree. And all those bugs flying in and out are bees. That's pretty fab. So we found a beehive in this giant tree. So another really cool thing you can see when you're out and about if you start looking up, other than birds, is you can see hollows. So hollows are homes for all sorts of animals. So, you know, you can find possums in hollows, birds make homes in hollows, and even things like rats. So if you look up, this is the sort of thing you're looking for. So you can see these trees just in front of me have a couple of hollows, especially this one. This one's really easy to see. So you can see those holes in the tree, especially in dead trees. They're all like little hollows, and maybe if we stay still we might see something come out of them. So there's a cockatoo on the oval over here. It looks like it's just foraging for some seeds. And we'll just stay really quiet and have a look at it. And if you're really quiet, you can hear a whole lot of other birds as well. So this one is a sulfur-crested cockatoo, and that's because it has a yellow crest. Not to an inventive name. So here we have 2 magpies. So the one you can see at the front, the one that's black and white, and really solid in colour, that's the male. And the one at the back over here, you can see it's a bit more grey. That's a female. So the females and the young tend to have a bit more of a greyish sort of mottled feather pattern, whereas the males are a solid black and white. And both of these guys are just looking for some food. Pretty cool stuff. Oh, and there's another one in the background. Even better. So after having a look at the app, we found out that this little bird is an eastern rosella. It's very pretty. And and we're really lucky to see that one today. So here's that rosella again, a bit closer up. It's really pretty. I wish you guys could see it in real life, but if you go for a scavenger hunt yourselves, you might be able to find something just as cool as this one. Fun fact for you, males usually in nature are the really colourful animals. They're the ones that are really like attractive and they're pretty and they sound pretty, and that's because they have to attract a mate. And that's how they do it, by being really, really pretty. So we've been lucky enough to find some fungi. So fungi is like the mushrooms that you find, and they're basically like the fruit. And the tree they're going from is called mycelium, and it's under the ground. So here's some fungi we found. I'll show you some close-ups of it as well. But you have to be really careful around fungi and mushrooms because a lot of it's poisonous. So make sure you don't touch it, pick it, and if you do, immediately wash your hands. So here's some fungi we found. There's lots and lots of little ones. And I'll zoom in even closer. So you can find all sorts of different fungi around. If you're looking for fungi, make sure that you go for somewhere that's always going to be moist, so a piece of ground that's always going to be wet, and usually under trees in the shade. So there's lots here, you can see them. Pretty cool stuff. Another one off the scavenger list. Do you guys know what a scat is? A scat's basically animal droppings, and these are some scats just here, and these belong to possums, which makes sense because of all of the trees that are surrounding us. So there's lots and lots of places where possums could live, like in the hollows, and yeah, this is the animal droppings, so we know that there are possums here. Have a look and see what kind of scats you can find. Okay guys, we're going to play a little game with this tree here. I want you to have a look and see if you can spot something on this tree trunk. Now try really, really hard because this is a great example of camouflage. Here we go. So here we have the marbled southern gecko, and this little guy, as I said, has done an amazing job at camouflaging with the bark there. So like I said as well, make sure you don't touch them or disturb them. But yeah, this is a great example of an adaptation technique. So this adaptation means that it can catch prey a lot easier, but it's also so it doesn't become prey itself, making it harder for a predator to catch. Great adaptation. So you're going to have to look really closely again to find this little guy. Can you see the lizard yet? We have here a garden skink, Laprofolus, and this guy feeds on larger invertebrates, including crickets, moths, earthworms, all sorts of delicious things for him. They rely purely on the movement of their prey when hunting, which is a cool little fact. So they blend in really well with their surrounds, and when they catch their prey, they shake it super vigorously. So one type of amphibian you can find, and one that is found just here, is a common eastern froglet, which is actually one of the most common species of frogs in Australia. So they're quite small, they only tend to get about 3 centimetres long, and they eat lots of small insects, including flies and mosquitoes, and they're very common in backyards. The males actually sound a lot like crickets when they're doing their call. So if you decide to go walking or having an explore in the Yarra Ranges, you might be lucky enough to come across a lyrebird. So our friend Paul came across this beautiful lyrebird making all sorts of calls. If you're really careful and listen hard, you can even hear this lyrebird mimic a kookaburra, which is something really cool that lyrebirds do. during our nature walk, we've come down to a local school in our area, and they have these amazing walking trails, and there's some ovals to play on, but there's also all these trees to have a look at. So that's where we've found most of the really cool stuff that we've found today. All the birds, reptiles, all sorts of things. So keep your eyes out, and depending on what time of day you go will depend on what sort of animals you see, what sort of creatures you're able to find. Unfortunately today I wasn't able to see any butterflies, but who knows, maybe you guys will.